harsh thing. Whereas if you're close to me, I can say a harsh thing, and you won't mind because you're a close friend of mine. Yeah, that's how it works. So same thing with Amr ibn al-As. The way Umar, it's a bit harsh, the way he came across, but you must understand the relationship that they had because they were senior companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The way he reproached him was different. Same thing with, I think it was Hudayfa radiallahu anhu, or one of the companions of Rasulullah, when he went to a far off land in Syria and he married a Christian. Umar radiallahu anhu immediately wrote a letter saying, immediately divorce her. Divorce her. This is not even like, this is quite severe. This is we know that it's allowed, according to the Quran, it's allowed to marry Christians that follow the Christian faith. Not just any Christian, not nowadays. Nowadays is a really big problem, okay? The fatwa is against the Christians and Jews of nowadays. Nowadays, it's a big, massive issue because they don't follow the tenets of the faith. The articles of the faith, they completely don't follow. The rulings and regulations and laws of the faith, they don't follow. So therefore, these are more or less, they more or less fall in the category of atheists and agnostics. Okay, they don't fall into the category. So that's why we're not allowed to go and eat in KFC. That's why we're not allowed to go and eat in McDonald's. That's why we're not allowed to go and eat in all these big, huge, haram outlets. Anyway, so here, back to the lesson. Here, Umar radiallahu anhu, he rebuked him. Does everyone have afakullu nasi yajidu thawban? Does everyone have so many clothes that they can replace? والله لو فعلتها لكانت سنة بل أغسل ما رأيت وأنضح ما أرى. So he says, والله لو فعلتها. If I were to do it, it would become sunnah. It would become sunnah to always keep on changing the cloth, meaning it won't be allowed if other people see me. So as an imam, as a person who's in leadership position, he should be way more cautious than anyone else. Okay, he should be way more cautious than anyone else because his position plays a massive role in how people think. Like Imam Malik, once I think a person, he laid down like a shawl and he prayed on the shawl. Imam Malik rebuked him after Salah. He said, why are you doing this? People are going to start thinking that this is the sunnah of the Medinians. You understand? So that place and the title and the leadership and the responsibility that you have is different from normal people. Okay? So when a normal person does, so when Umar radiallahu anhu, if he were to do that, if he were to just replace another thawb without showing to people that this is allowed, this is praying with a patch that's been washed of money is completely allowed, and leading the salah to show to the whole world that don't worry, even if you have one piece of clothing that you're wearing, you can clean it and you can carry on your salah as usual. You don't need to stay inside your house and wait for your whole garment to dry and the rest of it. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed. We are blessed in these times. But anything can happen. Look at Gaza. Yesterday they were completely okay. 1 year ago they were completely okay. But now, 1 year after, Allah protect them. Allah save them. Allah give them nusrah. Inshallah. So here he says, so people would take that as a sunnah after me. If I didn't do this, if I didn't do this, people would take that as a sunnah, meaning they would have to replace the garments all the time. They would have to wash the garments all the time. Bal aghsilu, rather I prefer to wash the part that's required of what I see. So this is the part that's the dalil of the chapter. I will wash that which I see myself with my eyes, and wa andahu ma lam ara, and I will sprinkle water over that which I do not see. Okay, that's the dalil here. So this hadith is narrated in Muwatta and the isnad is Sahih. So here the isnad, there's many other narrations on this topic. Muwatta Imam Malik is probably Imam Shafi'i. He says Muwatta Imam Malik is the most authentic book under the sky. The most authentic book under the sky. So, but this is Imam Shafi'i saying before Imam Bukhari came about. Imam Bukhari is way later. So therefore, Imam Shafi'i is saying this before Imam Bukhari's Sahih came out. At that time, at that moment of time, Imam Shafi'i's time, Muwatta Imam Malik was definitely the most authentic book on the face of the planet. It was the Asahul Kitabi Ba'da Kitabillah. But later on, when Imam Bukhari wrote his book, of course, Imam Malik's Muwatta has many narrations which are ta'liq, mu'allaq. You narrate it directly from Rasulullah. Some of them they don't have the change there. Some of them are marasil, or is mursal. A tabi'i will automatically. So Imam Malik will be narrating from another great tabi'i. So he's a atba'u tabi'i. He'll narrate from the great tabi'i who's going to say qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of marasil there, but majority of the, in fact, after the recent scholarly works, we know that approximately only 4 hadiths couldn't be found. The rest of them are 100% authentic. So the Muwatta as a whole book, as a complete book, completely authentic. When it comes in Muwatta, automatically you know it's already authentic. And Imam Ibn Hajar, he says, after going through the Asanid of Muwatta, he says that even these 4 that I couldn't find myself, the isnads I couldn't find myself to prove that these 4 narrations are authentic, I have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that these are also authentic. Ibn Hajar himself says, the Don of Hadith, he himself says. So this is the Hadith. Here goes through the sanad of this Hadith. If you want to go through at the bottom of the page 37. Abdul Razak ibn Hammam, he narrated in his Musannaf with another correct chain, another continuous chain, from Ma'mar, from Zuhri, from Urwa, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. Abdul Rahman Hatim narrated from his father, from Abdul Rahman ibn Hatim, that he performed Umrah. All the narrators in the, we'll go through the whole chain inshallah. Then we go to the next hadith. وعن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت في المني إذا أصاب الثوب إذا رأيته فاغسله وإن لم تره فانضحه. رواه الطحاوي وإسناده صحيح. Here Aisha رضي الله عنها says, if semen falls on your thawb, on your garment, whether your upper garment or your bottom garment, whether your pants, if you see it, wash it. Same, exactly the way Umar radiallahu anhu said. If you see it, wash it. وَإِن لَمْ تَرَهُ فَانْضَحْهُ. And if you can't see it, then just sprinkle water over it, meaning wash it lightly. Wash it lightly. رواه الطحاوي وإسناده صحيح. So the whole point here again is the whole garment doesn't need to be washed. The whole garment does not need to be washed. Farda. We do it out of our own satisfaction of our heart. That's it. Contentment of our heart. We do it out of our contentment. Otherwise, it doesn't need to be that way. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه. Here again, I'm not going to go through all the asanid because you can see the ilm rijal there at the bottom yourself. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال في المني يصيب الثوب إذا رأيته فاغسله وإلا فاغسل الثوب كله. Here, the hadith of Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه, he says slightly differently. He says, if you see it, then wash it. And if you don't see it, then wash the whole thawb. Wash the whole thawb. Or wash the whole garment, whichever garment that is fallen onto. Now, why does he say this? Because of the next hadith where he says, عن عبد الملك بن عمير رضي الله عنه قال سئل جابر بن سمرة رضي الله عنه وأنا عنده عن الرجل الذي يصيب في الثوب الذي يجامع فيه أهله قال صلي فيه إلا أن ترى فيه شيئا فتغسله ولا تنضحه فإن النضح لا يزيده إلا شرا. رواه الطحاوي وإسناده حسن. Both of these hadith is in Tahawi's Sharh Ma'ani al-Athar. Both of them are also authentic. One is Sahih, the one on top, and then this one is Hasan. One is acceptable and good. Now, وَلَا تَنْضَحُ. Here, do not wash it, do not sprinkle water over it. Why? Because it will only increase it in more of the najasa spreading out. So if you sprinkle water over it, then sometimes what happens is najasa spreads to even more of the location. So let's say your location was a 50p coin. Now from the 50p coin, because you smudged it, now it's turned into like a whole huge big patch. You don't wash it properly. Okay? So therefore, and you're not allowed to pray salah in something which is more than 50p coin. So any najasa that's on your body or on your thawb, more than a 50p coin, if it's the amount of 50p coin, then it is makruh. It's more than 50p coin, then it is not allowed, not valid. Your salah won't be valid, whether on your body, whether on your any part of your thawb. So it can be your lower garment, it can be your t-shirt, it can be your thawb that you're wearing on top, it can be your jacket as well. Okay, so any part of najasa which is more than a 50p coin, your salah will not be valid in. Likewise on your body. If it is less than 50p coin, then it is allowed. Ma'fu anhu, is allowed. He is overlooked, basically, pardoned in the Sharia. Here, so okay, this hadith very clearly says, وَلَا تَمْضَحُوا فَإِنَّ النَّضْحَ لَا يَزِيدُهُ إِلَّا شَرًّا. So very clearly here do we understand that it is preferable to wash the whole thawb if possible. If possible. Okay? Otherwise, if you know exactly the portion that it's fallen onto, then you just can wash that portion and enough. But nowadays, alhamdulillah, we don't need to go through the whole hard procedure, inshallah. Yeah, if a person wants to go through the isnad, sometimes, when it's narrated in Tahawi, people want to know the evidence of the Hanafi madhab. This evidence is for all the madhabs. It's not just for Hanafi madhab. These hadiths are relating to every single madhab. All four madhabs agree upon these hadiths and agree upon the meaning of these hadiths as well, being direct. Okay, that it must be washed. The mani must be washed, and mani is definitely najis, and it must be washed. The next, we've got one more hadith left here. وعن عبد الكريم بن رشيد قال سئل أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه عن قطيع صابتها جنابة لا يدرى أين موضعها قال اغسلها رواه الطحاوي وإسناده صحيح. So here, Anas ibn Malik, one of the companions of Rasulullah, one of the young companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was asked about like a clothing, like a piece of covering that had some najasa on it, had some money on it, basically, janaba on it. But the place that it fell onto, not sure. For example, it's like a bed cover. Nowadays, if you understand it as a bed cover, something on the bed sheet, if it falls onto the bed sheet and it's dried up now, you can't see any of the signs, then what should I do? So in that situation, whether it's the man's or the woman's, it falls on the bed cover, it fell, we're not sure, what do we do? Here, Anas ibn Malik, he responds, he says, "Ighsilha, wash it all." Okay, because you can't see where it fell. So if you can't see and you know that the najas are there, then you have to wash the whole thing. You have to wash the complete garment. رواه الطحاوي وإسناده صحيح. And this is also narrated in شرح معاني الآثار of Imam Tahawi, and the sanad is sahih. The narrators are there. Again, we go to number 33. Number 33. Footnote number 33. Abul Walid, he narrates from Tari ibn Yahya, from Abdul Karim ibn Rashid, from Rashid, and from Anas bin Malik. Then each one he says, as Tari bin Yahya, he is Ibn Hibban and Ibn Shaheen mentioned him in At-Thiqat. Thiqat is books that authenticate narrators. Okay, Thiqat were books. Ibn Hibban one is more famous. Ibn Shaheen is also famous. Ibn Hibban is more famous for his Thiqat. So a whole book is by approximately 10 to 12 volumes. Okay, just on reliable narrators. Reliable narrators. This is why, when Orientalists, when they attack the religion, it becomes a problem, because we can prove from the earlier works. We don't need to use, generally we use Tahdhib al-Tahdhib of Ibn Hajar or Imam al-Mizzi's Tahdhib al-Kamal, or for example, even if you use Al-Kamal of Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi. These are quite late works from 600, 700, 800, quite late works. So a person might come and say, oh, but these Ilm al-Rijal books that you use authenticate your narrators, they're very late. They're very, very late. They're 600, 700 years, 800 years after. They're written 600, 700 years after. How do you know they're authentic? So you must understand, these books are the khulasa. They're the summary of all of what the earlier muhaddithin wrote, like Imam al-Bukhari wrote in his Tariq al-Kabir, Awsat and Saghir, as well as here you find the books of Du'afa and you find the books of Thiqat, the two opposites. Da'if narrators, books of compilations of books that were for Da'if, Du'afa narrators, and Thiqat is the opposite, strong narrators, strong, trustworthy, reliable narrators. And then you find books like, for example, Ibn Abi Hatim al-Razi's books, Ilal, Jarh al-Ta'dil. You find, for example, Ibn Adi's Kamil. From all of these books of the Salaf al-Salihin, this Tahdhib al-Tahdhib of Ibn Hajar is like a summary of all of that, all of those works that were written in the past. Okay, so they're not something that was invented. And these earlier works are from the 300s, 200, 300, 400 Hijri. So these were a summary of all. So instead of you going and searching each and every single book individually, you're going to go into the Kamil of Ibn Adi's Kamil and this person, Ibn Abi Hatim's Jarh al-Ta'dil, and this person Tariq, and that person's Tariq, and Ibn Hibban's Thiqat. Instead of going to all 10 and criticisms of narrators, you just go to Tahdhib al-Tahdhib, because he gives you the summary of all of those 15, 20 works of the 300, 400, and 500 books that were written from the earlier ulama of hadith. So that's why we go to Tahdhib al-Tahdhib. It's like a summary of all of those works. That's why we use Ibn Hajar's one, generally speaking. Not to say that Ibn Hajar's authentication is the final conclusion on that narrator. It doesn't need to be. Generally it is. 90%, 95% of the time, generally it is. But that 5% is still, you can still have a leeway of Ibn Hajar. You don't need to go with Ibn Hajar's way of thought in every single narrator. Right. So here very clearly, you have to wash the whole garment. Then next chapter. So the next chapter is a dalil for Imam Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i, his opinion is mani is tahir. Mani, semen is tahir. Now what did we say? Semen is tahir, but when he said semen is tahir, he automatically says that semen obligates ghusl. So even though it's pure, it obligates ghusl. So he agrees with all the other three imams that it is definitely fard for a person to ghusl after intercourse, okay, or after wet dream. Yes. Here, these hadiths now will prove Imam Shafi'i's dalils. Imam Shafi'i's dalils. Now let's go through the first hadith. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه قال سئل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن المني يصيب الثوب فقال قال إنما هو بمنزلة المخاط والبزاق وإنما يكفيك أن تمسحه بخرقة أو بإذخرة رواه الدارقطني وإسناده ضعيف ورفعه وهم. It's very important. Subhanallah. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he reports here that Rasulullah was asked about money that falls onto a thawb, any garment, any clothing. Here Rasulullah replied, verily it is on the same level of mucus and mucus and spittle, bogey and hash. The way we say hash. So just like your mucus and your spittle is not najis. It's not najis. Yes, you won't eat it because why? Just naturally you're disinclined towards such things, isn't it? So same thing. But here, Imam Shafi'i's dalil here is that basically here Rasulullah is making mucus and spittle the same as the semen. You understand his dalil? So this is his dalil. That it is very similar to your bogey and your spittle. وَإِنَّمَا يَكْفِيكَ أَن تَمْسَحَهُ. It is enough to wipe it off, wipe it clean with a بِخِرْقَةٍ أَوْ بِإِبْخِرَةٍ, with some leaves or with some piece of cloth, dirty cloth. Just rub it off, take it off. It's enough to take it off in that way. Here, Imam Daruqutni, he narrates it. This isnad is da'if. This isnad is da'if. And to make rafa of it, meaning to attribute it to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is incorrect. Is incorrect. Wahmun here refers to it is a mistake. Whoever says that it is a hadith that is attributed to Rasulullah, this is a mistake. Okay? So the isnad itself is weak. Now we're going to go through the isnad inshallah. Because why? This goes against what we know. What is the command? Command is to wash. And we went through all those sahih hadiths. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We went through 10 hadiths telling us that it must be washed off. Sahih hadiths from all different books. Okay, not just Bukhari and Muslim, many other books as well. Now, here, these 3-4 hadiths are the dalils of Imam Shafi'i. Now, these 3-4 hadiths, he's going to break each and every single one to prove to you that these are weak. Prove to you that these are weak narrations, and you cannot prove that money is weak. Money is not najis. Not, meaning you can't prove that money is pure. Is pure. So here, let's go through the sanad inshallah. Number 35. Footnote number 35 on page number 40. Imam ad-Daruqutni, he narrates it in his Sunan. Sharik is from the narrators of Sahihain. So that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Then we have Malik ibn Anas studied under him. That's fine. That's talking about Sharik. Ibn Hajar said he is truthful but makes mistakes. So Sharik is the one here. He's a narrator of Sahihain. So even if he makes mistakes, it's not a big problem, because as long as you can detect which mistakes he makes, it's fine. You can narrate it. This might be one of his mistakes. Allahu A'lam. This is maybe the reason why the author, Allama Nimawi, is probably saying this is weak because of this reason. But let's carry on, inshallah. We'll see. Muhammad bin Abdul Rahman is a narrator of the 4 Sunan. Okay, 4 Sunan referring to Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Nasai, Ibn Majah. So here again, it is tough to put your finger on, because he is also a very credible narrator. Though Bukhari and Muslim did not narrate from him. So this is Muhammad ibn Abdul Rahman. The grading of the hadith between Hasan and Da'if. So this hadith specifically, meaning this hadith that we said, it is on the level of mucus and spittle. The highest grading a person can give it is maybe Hasan, maybe acceptable. Whereas the preferable opinion would be that this hadith is weak. Okay, hadith is weak, and just as the author said, it is incorrect to ascribe it to Rasulullah. Ascribe it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, here Imam ad-Daruqutni, after narrating this hadith, he says about Muhammad ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Layla. I spoke about him a couple of times in our lessons. Okay, Muhammad ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Layla, basically his books got burnt. After his books got burnt, he became all muddled up. Okay, he became all muddled up. So this is probably one of the hadiths that he narrated in his late life. And those hadiths that were narrated in his late life are not accepted. Are not accepted. So trustworthy, but there is a problem with his memory. Trustworthy in his early life, before the books got burnt. Okay, that's why he's also Muhammad ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Layla. He is one of the narrators of Bukhari and Muslim. Not anyone to understand that he was a weak narrator or something. No, he's one of the narrators of Bukhari and Muslim. But because of what happened to him, he later on mixed up hadiths, and therefore they didn't take hadiths of him when he became of later age. Okay, after that incident. So this is probably one of those hadiths. The next hadith we have وعن محارب بن دثار رضي الله عنه. Okay, he carries on with all the other narrators here. Very similar. Imam al-Bayhaqi, he affirms, he affirms that this hadith is better to say. He's a Shafi'i himself. Understand that he's a Shafi'i himself. Al-Bayhaqi is one of the greatest defenders of the Shafi'i madhab. Okay? Just like we have, for example, in our madhab, we have Imam al-Tahawi. The early ulama, Imam al-Tahawi, 321, he passed away, Hijri. It's over 1,100 years ago. Imam Bayhaqi, he passed away 1,000 years ago. So he was only 100 years apart from Imam al-Tahawi. Okay? He died 467 or so, Imam al-Bayhaqi. So Imam al-Bayhaqi, he was one of the greatest defenders of the Shafi'i madhab. So even Imam Shafi'i, Imam al-Bayhaqi, he admits that al-Bayhaqi said that it is sahih from Ibn Abbas, and then he says this narration has been narrated as marfu', but it is not correct. It is not correct. Who's saying it? Imam al-Bayhaqi is saying it. One of those who try to prove the Shafi'i madhab. So al-Bayhaqi also said in al-Ma'rifah, this is a mawquf sahih. So this hadith is sahih, but it is a statement of a sahabi, not the statement of Rasulullah. Mawquf means statement of a sahabi, not the statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's another. Okay, next hadith. وعن محارب بن دثار رضي الله عنه عن عائشة رضي الله عنها أنها كانت تحط المني من ثوب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو في الصلاة. رواه البيهقي وابن خزيمة وإسناده منقطع. Here, a person might misunderstand reading this hadith very literally. This is why, just because you're an Arab, you mustn't study hadith. Just because you're an Arab, you mustn't study hadith, because you're going to fall into this pitfall right now. Okay, the hadith that we are doing right now. وَهُوَ فِي الصَّلَاةِ. He's going to think, wow, is haliyah. Whilst he was praying salah, in salah, she was taking off the remnants of the money from his clothing. A person's going to think that if he reads the hadith literally, just understand from the literal wording of the Arabic. But this is not the case. This is referring to beforehand, before salah. Okay, this is beforehand. Like, for example, in Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة. It's translated. If you look at the translation, yeah, in brackets they'll say when you intend to pray, because the literal meaning of qumtum, qama yaqumu qum, refers to standing. When you are standing and praying, you're already praying. You're already in salah. So why is Allah saying that you must make wudu, the verse of wudu, when you're already standing in salah? Do you understand? So, of course, this means that when you intend to pray salah, make wudu and then come and stand in purity. Okay? It doesn't mean that when you're standing in salah, go and make wudu or something. Okay? This completely destroys the meaning. So same thing here. Here this refers to before praying salah. Aisha radiallahu anha, she would scrape off. Now, this is something which I discussed with my ustad, because I wasn't in the Hanafi madhab. It's allowed if the money is extremely thick. Allahu Alam, maybe they used to eat very good food. Allahu Alam, yeah? And they were very strong men. They were warriors. They weren't like us. No? They weren't like us. Like the 21st century where everyone's struggling to have kids. You can't even have kids nowadays, because the quality of the semen is not there. The woman's this is not there. PCO is there. Fertility problems are there. Whatever. But the point is, here it's referring to. So in the Hanafi madhab, if you read like Nurul Ida or any simple books, Quduri or Hidayah, you'll see that it is allowed to scrape off money. So I spoke to one of my ustad. He said basically their money that he's referring here is their money was like jelly. It was like, if you want to understand it, their money was like jelly. So it could be scraped off fully. could be scraped off. There would only be less, whatever is liquid would dry, and that's fine. As long as the najasa isn't there, it's fine. Okay, but it can be scraped off completely like jelly. But if that's the case, where the money can be seen and there's no remnants, if it's taken off one slice and it's completely gone, then it's fine. This would be completely fine. Of course, then you'll find some other ahadith here that if it is wet, then you have to wash it, and if it's dry, then you can scrape it off. Okay, but here their money was similar to that of jelly. Okay, that's the understanding that we take. If it's not like that, if it's completely watery and it's gone into the throat, then must. There's no way that a person can scrape it and say, I'm following the Hanafi madhab. Okay, please don't blame the madhab. Understand the madhab well first. Okay. So again, this hadith is a proof for who? For Imam Shafi'i. It's a proof for us as well, in the sense that if it's thick and if it can be scraped off, then it can be scraped. It goes dry and it's thick, it can be taken off completely. But this hadith here, directly here, Babun ma yu'ariduhu. So it's coming with all the hadith contrary to those 10 hadiths that he narrated on the najasa of money. So here he's trying to prove that Imam Shafi'i is trying to say that this is pure. Therefore, it can be scraped off and you can pray with it afterwards. Thereafter, you don't need to clean it. So therefore, his dalil is that it is pure. So here, Imam Rawahul Bayhaqi, Ibn Khuzaymah, it's narrated in two of the hadith books of Sunan al-Bayhaqi and Sahih of Ibn Khuzaymah. But the problem is the isnad is broken. A broken sanad, what did we say? Can it be Sahih? Can't be Sahih. There's a link missing between narrators, then automatically the hadith is weak. Automatically the hadith becomes weak. Munqati' is definitely, and munqati' is any part of the chain. Any part of the chain, whenever there's a breakage, whenever the link isn't, one student didn't meet that ustad, automatically that hadith becomes weak. Okay, so this hadith is definitely weak. Why? Because Muharib ibn Dithar, he never heard it from Aisha radiallahu anha. The narrator here that is narrated, Muharib ibn Dithar, that is narrated in these two books, he never met Aisha radiallahu anha, and Imam al-Bayhaqi, he acknowledges this. He acknowledges that Muharib ibn Dithar never heard from Aisha radiallahu anha. So, if one of the greatest Shafi'i scholars that are the defenders of the Shafi'i madhab, if he's admitting that yes, Muharib ibn Dithar, the narrator, he himself didn't hear from Aisha, so how could he narrate from Aisha? There's definitely a link missing in between. Okay, who is that link? We don't know. It can be a Sahabi, it can be a Tabi'i. It can be a weak person, it can be a strong person. But if we don't know, we don't know. Okay, if we don't know, we don't know. We have to say that according to us, according to our understanding, this hadith is weak because there's a breakage. There's a breakage in the link of the hadith. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه أنه قال في المني يصيب الثوب قال أمطه عنك بعود أو إذخرة فإنما هو بمنزلة المخاط والبساط. رواه البيهقي في المعرفة وصححه. This hadith is narrated by Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنه. قال أمطه عنك, remove it with a piece of wood or some leaves. Some leaves. إذخرة refers to leaves. فإنما هو بمنزلة المخاط والبساط. So it is verily on the same level of bogey and spittle. Yeah? That's the easiest way to translate that. Now, here Imam al-Bayhaqi declared this hadith to be sahih. Declared this hadith to be sahih. But he says it's sahih mawquf. So this is the narration of Ibn Abbas, not to Rasulullah. Okay, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Not to Rasulullah. This is sahih from Ibn Abbas. The statement of the fatwa of Ibn Abbas is sahih. So it is definitely a statement of Ibn Abbas, and it is sahih up to Ibn Abbas. But to attribute it to Rasulullah is not correct. Okay, is that understood? So this isn't a hadith. It's a fatwa of a tabi'i. So this is also another. This is an opinion. This is an opinion from a Sahabi. And he also, and the hadith is problematic because it's supposed to be the other way around. Mukhat and busaq. Busaq comes first, then it's supposed to be mukhat. As you can see in the footnote there, number 37, it should actually be فَإِنَّمَا هُوَ بِمَنْزِلَةِ الْبُصَاقِ أَوِ الْمُخَاطِ. So this hadith, whoever the narrator is, he changed the wording of the hadith. Now we know what do the muhaddithin do, just like you make a mistake on أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ, the 10-year-old child from the back will correct Ustad's mistake, Sheikh's mistakes, Imam's mistakes. Likewise, the muhaddith, immediately when you change a word around, they catch you out. This is the job of the muhaddith because he's memorized thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of hadith. So the moment you make a slight mistake, he already correct you. You understand? Yeah. Instead of saying ya'malun, you say ta'malun immediately. He'll correct you. Mistake is a mistake. You know, unless you're doing another qira'ah, unless you're reading in warsh, then maybe ya'malun can become ta'malun. Ta'malun become ya'malun. You're in Morocco. Okay. So there's a problem with the hadith itself. Even with this narration, although it can be sahih, but it is a sahih from the companion Ibn Abbas as his statement, not the statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Imam al-Nimawi, قال النموي هذا أقوى الآثار لمن ذهب إلى طهارة المني. These three narrations that we brought forward are the most strongest opinions that are in dalil for Imam Shafi'i to prove that it is pure. Okay, to prove that money is pure. These are the strongest, and we each and every single one he broke. So the first one is weak, and to attribute it to Rasulullah is a mistake, definitely incorrect. Second one, Muharib ibn Dithar, he never heard anything from Aisha. So how could you take that narration? That narration is munqati. There's a breakage there. Third narration is problematic because the word has been switched around, and another problem was that it is the statement of the Sahabi ibn Abbas. It is not correct to direct it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these three narrations are the most authentic according to Imam Shafi'i's dalils, and we've broken each one of them. Then he says, وَلَكِنَّهُ لَا يُسَوِي الْأَخْبَارَ الصَّحِيحَةَ الَّتِي أُسْتُدِلَّ بِهَا عَلَى النَّجَاسَةِ وَمَعَ ذَلِكَ يَحْتَمِلُ أن يكون التشبيه في الإزالة والتطهير لا في الطهارة. Yes, that it does not. These three narrations cannot even go close to the authentic 10 narrations that we brought forth, the Sahih 10 narrations that we brought forth, because their level of hadith is way above these three narrations. And here he mentions a very nice point. He says, in spite of this, of what is narrated, these narrations from the Sahaba, these are mainly from the Sahaba, these three narrations. So in spite of what has been narrated, what can be taken from these three narrations is that the likening of semen to mucus and spittle is in regard to removing and purifying the semen. You understand? That if there is spittle or if there is some bogey, for example, then it has to be removed. Generally, it has to be removed. You remove it, you know. So removing wise, it has to be removed. Whereas, not in regards to its impurity, not in regards to impurity, that it is najasa. It is definitely najasa. So these hadiths cannot be used to say that it is not najasa. Okay, it is najasa. It is impure. So now this next chapter also you might think it's a defense for Imam Shafi'i, but it is also part of our madhab as well. Okay, part of the Hanafi madhab as well. Babun fi farqil mani. Scraping off semen. Now this is after it's dried. When it's moist, it has to be washed. Okay. عن علقمة بن الأسود أن رجلا نزل بعائشة رضي الله عنها فأصبح يغسل ثوبه فقالت عائشة رضي الله عنها إنما كان يجزيك إن رأيته أن تغسل مكانه فإن لم تره نضحت حوله لقد رأيتني أفلكه من ثوب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فركا فيصلي فيه رواه مسلم وفي رواية له لقد رأيتني وإني لأحكه من ثوب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يابسا بالدفل. Yes. So here very clearly Aisha radiallahu anha, a person came and stayed maybe in the quarters of Aisha radiallahu anha, and he woke up needing ghusl, meaning he had ihtilam, he had wet dream. After he had a wet dream, he needed to take ghusl. So Aisha radiallahu anha said, it is enough to just wash the place that the najasa has fallen onto, the semen has fallen onto. Whichever place that you see that it's fallen onto, wash that place. If you don't see it, then just sprinkle water, meaning wash it lightly. Wash it lightly. Sprinkling here refers to wash it lightly. It doesn't need to be washed thoroughly. Yeah. Because the person, if you read this very literally, nadahta means sprinkle like this. But this is not the meaning. The meaning here is washing it lightly. Okay? Washing it off lightly. Washing it properly would refer to squeezing it and doing excessively to take out everything. Whereas here, nadaha means to just wipe it clean and clean it with a bit of water only, not too much, not too fully, thoroughly squeeze it and everything. لَقَدْ رَأَيْتُنِي, verily, I can see myself. Aisha radiallahu anha said, I can see myself. I used to scratch off. I used to scratch off and scrape off from the garment of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before he used to go and pray salah with that garment. Okay, before he used to go and pray, I mentioned why I'm giving this translation, isn't it? Okay, Rawahu Muslim. Otherwise, you're going to be confused. Then why is Ustad translating like this? Okay, it's not whilst he was in salah. This is before he went into salah. Okay? Before he went into salah. This hadith is in Muslim, so there's no doubt of authenticity. لَقَدْ رَأَيْتُنِي وَإِنِّي لَأَحُقُّهُ مِنْ ثَوْبِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ يَابِسًا بِظُفْرِي. Yes, it was when it was dry. So this is the dalil for the Hanafis. Okay, when it was dry, I scraped it off from that place with my nails. With my nails. So this makes it even more clear, this narration. This is the beauty of Muslim Sharif. Imam Muslim, this is why the Mauritanians and the Maghribi scholars, Mauritania, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, they preferred Muslim Sharif. Why? Because of the benefit of Muslim Sharif. The benefit of Muslim Sharif is it gathers all the Sahih narrations, or more or less, whatever he can find on the topic, and he brings it in one chapter. So you can see all the additions and all the differences in one place. Within one chapter, you can see all the differences of that narration, which is the beauty, which is extremely what is needed for mujtahid to assess hadith. Okay? Of course, those who write the commentaries, like Imam al-Nawawi, is going to now include more of the narrations that he missed out, that were maybe less authentic, or that were on the same level of authenticity, but Imam Muslim didn't bring it, because Imam Muslim's purpose is not to bring all the hadiths. All the hadiths that are sahih. His purpose is like Imam Bukhari's purpose. They only brought a selective range of sahih hadith. Selective range of sahih hadith. Not all the sahih hadith. There's many sahih hadith is out of Bukhari and Muslim. Hundreds and thousands of hadith is out of Bukhari and Muslim. So, that's the case there. The next hadith, inshallah, so that's the benefit of Muslim Sharif. It gathers all the different editions of that single narration. وعنها قالت كنت أفرق المني من ثوب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان يابسا وأغسله إذا كان رطبا. رواه الدارقطني والطحاوي وأبو عوانة في صحيحه وإسناده صحيح. Here it is on the authority of Aisha again, رضي الله عنها, that I used to scrape off from the clothing of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mani when it was dry. Okay, this is the condition, when it was dry. And I used to wash it off when it was moist, when it was wet. Simple word is when it was wet. And this hadith is narrated in Daraqutni, Tahawi, Abu Awana in his Sahih, and the Isnad is Sahih. And inshallah, we'll go through the last hadith. وعن همام بن الحارث قال كان ضيف عند عائشة رضي الله عنها فأجنب فجعل يغسل ما أصابه فقالت عائشة رضي الله عنها كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يأمرنا بحته. رواه ابن الجارود في المنتقى وإسناده صحيح. This hadith is also sahih. A person came and stayed by next to Aisha radiallahu anha. He was probably one of the cousins of Aisha or something, and related to Aisha radiallahu anha in some way. and he also had a wet dream and he had to make a ghusl. And then Aisha radiallahu anha said the same thing, that I used to scratch it off. The money that was on the thawb of Rasulullah that was dry, I used to scratch it off myself. So this also shows that it is permissible to scratch it off if it is dry. If it is dry. And this hadith is definitely authentic. It is narrated in Muntaqa of Ibn al-Jarud. This is another book of hadith that we don't hear often. No, this is another book of hadith also. This Muntaqa is basically like Sahih. Sahih Ibn Hibban, one of the most authentic books that